the second module, module 2 mainly deals with two types of transistors. Okay. So the two types of transistors which you are going to study, one is called as your BJT and the other one is called as your FET. Okay. BJT stands for bipolar junction transistor and FET stands for field effect transistor. Okay. The bipolar junction transistor has three configuration. One is called as common emitter configuration. Common emitter. Second one is called as your common base. And the third one is called as your common collector, depending on the three terminals of the transistor. Okay. So the bipolar junction transistor or your BJT consists, it's a three terminal device. Three terminals. One is your emitter, second terminal is your base, and the third one is your collector. Okay. Emitter, base and collector. Similarly, your FET is also a three terminal device. So the FET consists of three terminals. It is going to be your gate, drain and source. Okay. These are the three terminals of your BJT and your FET. So one of the difference between your BJT and FET is that BJT is a current control device and FET is a voltage control device. So this is a current controlled device. So why is it called as a current controlled device is that the output current is controlled by the input current. That's why it is called as your current control device, whereas your FET is called as your voltage control device because the output current is controlled by the input voltage. Okay. This is one of the main difference between your BJT and your FET. So in the case of common emitter configuration, emitter will be transistor. So the symbol of the transistor is like this. It is a three terminal device. Okay. So this will be your emitter, this will be your base, and this is your collector. So how you know that it is an emitter? Emitter, here you have an arrow mark which signifies the flow of the conventional current. Okay. So the arrow mark signifies whether it is, there are two types. One is your NPN and PNP. That is two N-type semiconductor and one P-type. The P-type will be sandwiched between your two N-type semiconductor. Then it comes under the category of NPN. Similarly, if you have two P-type and one N-type, then it is called as your PNP transistor. So not pointing towards, the arrow mark is not pointing, it is pointing outward. So this is your symbol of your NPN transistor. And what will be your symbol of your PNP transistor? The opposite. Okay, it is pointing towards. So this is your emitter, base and your collector. So this is your symbol of your transistor. So in the case of common emitter configuration, what you are going to do, your emitter will be grounded. So your emitter, let me take your NPN configuration. So emitter will be grounded, the input is your base and the output is going to be your collector. So this is going to be your output and this is going to be your input. In the case of common base configuration, your input is going to be, your base will be grounded. That is, base is common to both emitter and collector. Your emitter is going to be your input and your collector is going to be your output. Whereas in the case of common collector configuration, just opposite to that of your common emitter. Okay. So this is going to be, collector is going to be common to both that of your input and output. So in this case, what is your input? Input is going to be your base and the output is going to be your emitter. Okay. So these are the three different configuration of your BJT. Similarly, the FET can be classified into two different types. One is your JFET. JFET stands for junction field effect transistor. Junction field effect transistor, and the second one is called as your MOSFET. MOSFET stands for metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. Okay. And this FET can again be divided into two types. One is your P type and the other is your N type. So depending on your, there is one more difference between your BJT and FET. BJT is bipolar junction transistor, means the flow of current is due to both your charge carriers, majority as well as your minority. That is, it is due to both your electrons as well as holes. But whereas in the case of FET, your flow of current is due to either your holes or either your electrons. So it is classified depending on your type. You will have your current flow, either it can be P type or either it can be N type. Your MOSFET can be again divided into, classified into two types. One is your depletion MOSFET and the other one is your enhancement MOSFET. Enhancement MOSFET. Okay, so the depletion MOSFET will be again divided into two types. One is your P type and the other will be your N type. Similarly, the enhancement MOSFET will be divided into two types. One is your P type and the other will be N type. So these are your different classification of your BJT and FET, which comprises your second module. And this is your introduction of your module 2.